Milford Sound is on the bucket list for many private pilots in New Zealand, but with its deep and narrow fjord, high mountains on either side, west coast weather conditions and small airport nestled beneath some imposing cliffs, it's definitely no walk in the park. We asked experienced mountain pilot and AOPA member Sue Kronfeld to take a slightly underpowered 172 into Milford so that we could see how it's done.
Milford Sound is the go-to when you're an aircraft owner. I mean, you want to be able to know your office and comfortably fly your plane in and out of your own aerodrome, but you also want to know the limitations of your aircraft. So it depends on the type. Tail draggers, yeehaw, we've got a umbrella concession in the national parks. You become a backcountry member, you can go out there and we can go with groups and learn off each other. The Haast fly-in for AOPA NZ, brilliant, 60 odd aircraft in there, works really well. But the ultimate gem is, I want to do a landing in Milford. I mean, come on, this is this part of the tourism mecca that people want to come in and see. There's an aerodrome there, I've got a plane, let's blimmin' fly in there. Well, you've done your groundwork, you've found all the promulgated reporting points. Very important to be on 1192 for our Fiordland traffic. You know, and you've read your gap book of Milford. You know that it's a high commercial zone for commercial operators out of Queenstown and Wanaka and Te Anau. So you've got to respect the joining and departing procedures. On descent towards the entrance of Milford is a change of frequency from 1192 to 1182 near Yates Point. You broadcast to Milford traffic when you're out on the coast because the Milford flight service can't hear you if you're at around 3,000 feet out there. Just broadcast that because the commercial guys or any other traffic coming on descent over Milford out to the entrance there will hear you, and you are situationally traffic sequencing basically quite comfortably. If you stay at 2,500 feet across to St Anne's Point, you're then able to call up when you are high enough for them to hear you. They will give you the traffic and the QNH. They want to know what type of aircraft you are and how many people are on board, if they don't already know you're coming in. And if you already hear on approach to St Anne's Point at 2,500 feet via the Milford flight service what the traffic is and what the QNH is, then let them know that you know. It just saves a lot of hot air being put across the airways, and then you sequence yourself with the traffic on approach. You've done your study, you know to approach on the southern side of the fjord, and then you just follow in as per requirements for 11 or 29. I wanted to show the viewers the sea breeze coming into Milford. You noticed that, Mark, that we came in from the Tasman Sea and it was calm. So every fjord has a Venturi effect, gets a sea breeze coming in. So January, February is a classic. You just get that, the wind, the heat, and a crosswind coming straight in over that Milford runway. But you just fly the plane. If you set up that full flap and that airspeed coming in on final, you can do a crosswind landing quite nicely. If there are aircraft behind you and you are number 4 or 5 or whatever behind another set of aircraft and you're going to use up all that runway, and which will require a backtrack, then put the power on and go around and set up again. It's not worth the hassle of all the planes having to go around above you while you're backtracking. So your top 2 inches is required if it's busy. COVID now is a good time to go in because there's not a lot of movements going on. So if you want to get associated or have an experience into Milford, this is the time of life to go in now. We are euphoric in our little cabin. So anything out the front, our human brain just goes, there it is, that's what I see, you know. I should be able to put my hand out the window and touch that rock, but you're actually probably half a kilometre away from it. So that illusion thing of the immensity of the mountains, you need to actually be on the ground and watch planes come in and out, and then you will see the size of that aircraft compared to Mitre Peak as you're coming in. It takes a while, it takes a long time to get adjusted to this room that you have to manoeuvre an aircraft in like that fjord or a valley. It takes time, and you've got to be able to know your aircraft really well, because if you know it, you know the airspeed and the nose attitude and the power setting that you normally carry out a turn in a flatter land, basically. But yeah, it's that illusion, just being so close to the ridge. So when we join downwind for 2-9, and it's not a perfect rectangle shaped circuit, you have to go towards what's called deep water basin, heading towards a perfectly good hunk of rock called Mount Sheardown. And you must maintain your 1,000 feet. Setting up the plane as normal, as you would do any high-powered or standard aircraft, to set your flap on a late downwind. You must then fly beside Mount Sheardown to the bluff, what looks like a very narrow spot for us to turn onto final. You can extend further down if you want, but I tell you what, you can carry out a medium turn, 70 knots in a 172 with 20 degrees of flap, rate 2, medium turn maximum. You don't need to squeal the aircraft around, because you will find in that mid 3/4 of the way through the turn that you could actually level the wings a bit and realise for yourself that, my goodness me, there is plenty of room. When we turn onto final, you then have to have a slight dog leg, because you must be 500 feet before you turn onto that, come over the trees for final leg before you turn right onto that centre line. You've got to get your profile. Same setup for any other aerodrome. Look down that centre line. Don't let the trees put you off, because you will be on a nice profile, easing that speed back, 172 example, 60 knots, because that sea breeze will hit you, and it comes up and hits those trees and up she goes. You're getting this updraft. If you don't get that aircraft set up with flap and your speed for that landing approach, you're going to come in too hot, and you'll just have to put the power on again, set up again, and come back round on that circuit which blew your head away in the first place. So get it right the first time so you don't have to do it again. It's only different in regards to the illusion aspect again. You've got Mitre Peak steering or looking down over you. So when you climb out, it's so important to climb out according to your aircraft's climb out, cruise climb or best angler climb speed. There's so much going on in your head about pull back, but the size of the place is quite comfortable climb out before you go across to the northern side of the fjord to go to the elevator to vacate. As for the gustiness and the mechanical turbulence off the trees, you can get that on any coastal strip. It's just those mountains looming down on you basically when you get airborne. Elevator is the effect of the Venturi that comes through. The air just rushes down that 10-kilometre stretch of Milford Sound, or Milford Fjord, and whacks its wave up the side of this mountain face. And it's perfect for your departure out to Dale Point. So you cut across once you're airborne to the northern side, you get enveloped by this energy that just picks you up, and we get pushed up. You get about 1,000+ feet a minute on that face, and it just enables you to get up to beyond your 1,000 feet, and as you break away from that, you are well over 2,000 feet by the time you get to Dale Point. So it's quite handy when the air is coming in from a westerly direction. So we climbed out to the elevator to commence a turn left through 1,500 feet, and kept climbing across the fjord to the eastern passes. So our departure was for Adelaide Saddle. Now you need 5,000 feet minimum to cross that saddle. So you want to be a comfortable 2,500 feet as you go over the aerodrome vacating. And then that gives you good footing to make that 5,000 foot mark to cross that Adelaide Saddle. When we crossed Adelaide, you've got that amphitheatre of rock, which requires you to go slightly left in the Moraine Creek, as we call it, Lake Adelaide, which then opens up to the Hollyford Valley. So that diversity of leaving sea level to 5,000, crossing the Adelaide, and then the land comes straight up, I don't know, 2,000 feet below you again. So yeah, it's a really cool departure. Yeah. I demonstrated the Eastern Pass departure. Adelaide is also a good one for other aircraft coming in, so it is an arrival route as well. Another departure for us would be a southwestern departure, which takes us down the Arthur Valley over the Milford Track. You can go and see Lake Quell there as well. Or you can depart out the Milford entrance again, and we call that mouth south if you want to go south, or mouth north if you want to go back up the coast to the north.